Hello and welcome, I'm Jessica, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite books, The 4 Agreements. This book has really changed my whole life. It's very tiny, as you can see. I have very tiny hands and it is almost the size of my hand. The words are not very big. I have the ebook version, but my mother was kind enough to lend me her physical copy for me to use in this video. So this little book is all about 4 life-changing principles. If you try to live by them, it will just change everything. So he begins the book by talking about how we all have agreements with ourselves. And I realized that I had many negative agreements with myself. I had an agreement with myself that I wasn't worthy. I was never enough. I felt like I deserved to be abused, that I deserved to abuse myself. So this book is all about wiping away those old agreements that are negative and starting 4 new ones. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. In this chapter, he talks about how every word we say has power behind it. Whether we believe it or not, we have the power to move things with our word. And we can affect other people with our word. And most of all, we affect ourselves. If you try going by that belief that your word has weight, your word has power, you can use that for negative or for positive. So you can use that power against yourself and against others with doing things like gossiping about yourself or about others. One thing that I do that I'm trying really hard to stop doing is if I do something silly, I'll say, God, I'm so stupid, trying to let go of that. And because I do that to myself, I have also dated people that have said the same thing to me because I was abusing myself and telling myself that I was so stupid. I ended up being around other people and dating people that would say the same thing as if they were my mirror. Especially my last ex would constantly tell me that I was stupid. And I believed that myself, so I played into that. And it kind of opened this wound that I already had within myself that he wouldn't have been able to attack and get into if I had not had it to begin with. This principle of being impeccable with your word means always being authentic and honest and in your truth of what you really mean. So that means really assessing and centering yourself and thinking, do I really mean what I'm about to say? And questioning yourself internally, am I speaking with integrity right now? Am I saying what I actually mean? And do I know what I even want to say? I know I will sometimes just say things and not fully try to think out how I should say and articulate. I don't fully articulate how I feel because I haven't really sat down to assess how I really feel. And it's really important to only use your word in authentic, loving manners with yourself and with other people, and avoid using those words in a negative way. One huge thing is to avoid gossiping, because when you gossip, you might feel like you're talking about somebody else, but you're picking up on things that you hate about yourself. And what you have to say about somebody else actually says a lot more about you than it does about that person. And that's where we go into the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. If you realize everybody has baggage, everybody makes mistakes, everybody has their own stuff, and what other people are doing has a lot more to do with them than it does to do with you. A lot of the times people aren't trying to hurt you. You have to communicate what you feel if you care about them, or just let it roll off and not take it personally because maybe they're just having a bad day. Other people's actions have more to do with them than it does to do with you. Just like if you are gossiping about somebody else, it has more to do with you than them. Same thing. And that's why when other people are gossiping about you, you shouldn't take it personally. So whenever you're trying to give a dig at somebody, think and feel, why do I feel like saying this? Why do I feel like saying something negative about somebody else? Especially if I don't even know them that well. Always realize that what other people are doing is a projection of their own reality. And what you do is a projection of your reality. It goes both ways. Don't make things a one-sided double standard. Realize that it's the same for you as it is for other people. Because we've all hurt other people and we've all been hurt. If we really stay centered and stay in a mindset of not taking things personally, it avoids so much pointless sadness, animosity, resentment, negativity, and drama. It is all life-changing if you don't take things personally. All of these 4 things are life-changing. And then we have agreement number 3, don't make assumptions. There is a line in the Love Guru where he says, if you assume you're making an ass out of you and me. And I love that line. Although it was made with comedic reference, it is so true. If you can find the courage to not make an assumption, but instead know that what another person is doing is part of their own reality, and you have the courage to communicate to them what they are doing to your reality without taking it personally, so you don't have the animosity involved. You can tell them without assuming what you feel. It opens up the world so much. It's so difficult to do, but once you start doing it, you'll notice when you do it, and it's amazing how it changes everything. One of the huge things about this one is communication. If you can assume that you don't know what that other person did for whatever reason, and you assume that you don't know and that you should ask a question, it'll make your life a lot easier. And if you can communicate with them about how you feel, that's a great start. And communicating clearly has everything to do with knowing what you feel first. Really coming from a clear place. You're centered, you're neutral, and you're going to not assume that they're just trying to hurt you, but you're also going to really think about what you need to say and then say it to them impeccably with word that has purpose. And now number 4, my favorite one of all, always do your best. And realize that your best is going to fluctuate every day. There will be days that you are sick. There will be days that you are so on top of things and you get everything done and more than you even dreamed of. And there's going to be days where you're sick and you can't even get out of bed. And you have to realize you should not judge yourself, abuse yourself, or regret your days if you know that you did your best. And this is one of those things, I think that I'm constantly trying to do my best, but if I really sit back and I think about what I did that day, for instance, I just got my productivity planner. I've been writing down all the things that I do and how much time I spend doing them. First of all, I didn't realize how much work it takes to do some of the things that I'm doing, like editing videos. I was really hard on myself that I wasn't doing enough, that I wasn't doing it well enough, blah, 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 blah. I had a bunch of stories in my head. Then when I actually sat there, wrote it all down, and then reviewed my week, a week when I was sick, I realized, oh my goodness. I did a lot more than I thought that I did. And I was so hard on myself that I didn't have the outcome that I wanted. I realized how much I judged myself because I never take the time to feel like I did my best. I never take that time to reflect and think, wow, I really did my best that day. Even though I was really sick, I actually got a lot of things done that day. Instead, I just say, oh, well, I wanted to get this and this done this week, and I was sick, so I didn't get it all done the way that I wanted to get it done. And I'm so hard on myself. It only turns into self-abuse. At the end of the day, I've abused myself more than anybody else ever has gotten the chance to. And it starts with me, so I want to end those cycles. And these 4 agreements have been amazing for starting the process of loving myself. As I talked about in my self-love video, I did reference this, but I ended up cutting it out because I wanted to do a whole video in itself on this because this is so important. His wisdom is amazing. The way that he looks at the world is beautiful. Don Miguel Ruiz is amazing. I really love his work. He has many great books, but this one I think is my ultimate favorite and a must-read for everybody. But I feel like everybody should read all of his books. They are just so life-changing. So that is my overview of the 4 agreements. I hope that you enjoyed it. I am so ecstatic about this book, and I will put a link below to where you can buy it on Amazon, because it is a must-read if you have not already read it. I actually reread this book as... I really want to reread it every year, but I don't end up doing it quite that often because I read a lot. But this is one of those books I have been rereading, and as I'm growing, I get different insights from it. And it's as if the book is growing with me in a way. I hope that you like this video and that you have some interest in the 4 agreements. It is an amazing, life-changing thought process that has helped me so much in my journey from being a meth addict to where I am today, and will continue to be a part of who I become in the future. May your day be filled with endless beauty and wonder. I love you guys.